All right, so I'm gonna close the blinds here in studio and lock the door. Without anyone coming in. Our first restorative shape is gonna be leg supported with bolsters. So you're gonna use your 2 blocks and your 2 bolsters for this. So you're going to take your 2 blocks, and it's your option whether you want to have them medium or high. Place them at the foot of your mat, and place your bolsters up against it. It's like that restorative version of legs up the wall. But if you prefer to do legs up, kind of like the bridge mode, you can do that. And you want to make sure these bolsters are really supported by the blocks. If they're unsteady, your body won't relax into it. And I'm going to look for hands up here. If anyone wants a blanket, what you can do is place a blanket down, put your legs up, and then wrap your legs. Then they feel like they're not going to roll off. If anyone wants a blanket, you can put your hand up. I'll demonstrate anyway, just in case. All right, so you decide to add a blanket. You would have it nice and long width-wise so that you can place your legs up on it. And at this point, your ankles, knees should be higher than your hips, which is the whole idea here of being legs on an incline. And your upper body should be relaxed. So whether you want your arms at your sides or on your abdomen, T formation, that's up to you. And once your legs are up, if you are using a blanket, you can kind of tuck that one blanket under one leg and then the other, so that there's this feeling of that the legs can't roll outward. And because of the internet issues, we have a nice quiet class today. So that whole mindfulness practice that we incorporate into every class will really be practiced here today, as our mind can't kind of wander outward to music. So this really helps with, in restorative yoga, if we really were practicing in its truest form, we actually wouldn't have any music, because the practice is called pratyahara. It's drawing inward of the senses. So you're trying to minimize any extra sensory. So usually you would do no music. You would typically have an eye pillow over your eyes to decrease any visual sensory input. And then of course you would support the body with props so that the muscles can soften and relax into the shape. And sometimes when things get quiet, the mind wants to pick up. Just noticing any tendency. For some, it can help to name where the mind has gone, past, future. And then coming back time and time again. And here we are in our 4th week of this practice of combining restorative, yin, and mobility. 'Cause We start with this resting posture. You could liken it to a snow globe. You've been out and about perhaps all day. It's as if the snow globe has been shaken. And here's a moment to let everything settle back down. Slowing down and resetting is like letting yourself catch up to the here and now. Noticing your body as a whole, scanning from your feet through the legs and arms to the top of your head. Inviting a softening to occur. Even just 1% more, allowing the body to relax further into the shape. Maybe it's letting the arms become heavier. The legs feel more supported. You might soften your jaw by creating space between the teeth. Starting to bring awareness to your breath. No need to change it. Becoming curious about the quality of your breathing. You might notice the pace of your breath. You might feel into how expansive the breath is as you inhale. And the amount of softening and relaxation that occurs as you breathe out. following this natural ebb and flow of the breath. And if it's comfortable, you might invite the breath to expand further as you inhale through the nose or through pursed lips, inviting the abdomen and lower rib cage to expand upward and outward. You might even feel your back body pressing into the ground further. And then as you exhale, feeling that rib cage and abdomen coming inward and down. Following the breath like this a few more times. By accentuating the expansiveness in this area of the body, we're strengthening the diaphragm, our primary breathing muscle. We're also increasing the oxygenation by using those deeper airways that sometimes we don't tap into unless we're exercising or consciously taking deep breaths. The breath practice in yoga is called pranayama. It's considered the foundation of all asanas, the postures themselves. Option to stay here, or you can start to reach your arms overhead, whether you want to do like cactus arms, goalpost, or stretching even further overhead if the neck and shoulder allows. Taking a few more breaths here. They don't have to be as deep of breaths. Sometimes that can feel too strenuous on the rib cage and back. Just notice, how does this change your breath and where you feel it in the body? If your arms are at your sides or overhead, you can start to bring them down. And then we're going to draw the right knee to chest. You can use your hands to help either on the shin or thigh bone. If that's feeling like too much, you could even just set your foot on the bolster in a slightly flexed position. And just notice what this feels like in your body. Maybe some compression in the front of the hip. Maybe some stretch in the back. Breathing as you hold. And then if you want, you could take some rocking inward and outward. And then we're going to release the right leg, and just for a moment notice how that leg might feel different. Maybe it feels longer, looser, lighter. And then we switch sides. Your left knee will come to chest. Give it a little hug. Staying in this position for a moment. Notice the sensation here. Breathing with the hold. And then option to rock that leg inward and outward. Then setting the left leg down, once again noticing the residual sensation. Then our arms are going to reach to the sky, bend elbows, hand lands to opposite elbow. We're going to rock the arms back and forth. As arms reach to the left, right shoulder blade lifts up, and vice versa. And if you want to allow the neck and head to go along for the ride, you could. It's like windshield wipers for the mid back and shoulders. Coming back to center, allow the arms to come down. We're going to bend our knees and have our feet flat on the bolster. So you really want to make sure your bolsters are nice and steady here. So typically we do windshield wipers with our feet flat on the floor. We're just doing an elevated version of windshield wipers. Allowing the knees to rock back and forth as this creates an oscillation or rotational force through the hips, pelvis, low back, and that even transcends up into the mid-back and shoulders, maybe even a little bit of neck. You'll feel some gentle pulling left and right. It's just a lovely way to just reset and start to unwind some tension that we might be holding through the spine, hips, and shoulders. Come back to center. If it feels okay, we're going to do this kind of elevated version of a reclined butterfly. So it's a yin shape. The soles of the feet come together, the knees come apart. And just like when we do this recliner and sitting, we get to control the sensation by how close or far the feet are to your pelvis. So if you want a little less intense, your feet can be higher up the bolster, more intense further down the bolster. So find a variation of this that works for you, and if you find this to be too much, there's also the option to do a half butterfly where you keep one leg straight and just allow one knee off to the side and then halfway through switch over. As far as the arms go, you can have them on your abdomen, at your sides, overhead, that part's up to you. Remembering with yin, we are intentionally creating stress in the body in the form of stretch or the sensation of pulling or compression. We're targeting connective tissue called fascia, specifically around and deep within the joint, space and capsule. So you're going to be feeling this, whether it be through, like I said, the compression or pull, but you don't want it to be so intense that it's impeding on your breath. So check in with your breathing here. One of the benefits of butterfly is it allows our breath to now expand and relax the pelvic floor. So as you inhale, the abdomen expands upward and outward, and the pelvic floor expands downward. And it's an inverse relationship with the diaphragm. This can help with low back pain, hip tension. And seeing as you exhale, if you can allow your legs to feel just a little more supported. If you're doing half butterfly, you should have switched sides by now. And if this is becoming a little too much on the hips for you, at any point in time, you can come back to your feet flat and maybe some windshield wipers here, knees to chest. Just a few more breaths here. When you're ready, one knee at a time is going to start to come back up. And then we're going to roll off to one side, your choice which way, and slowly start to press yourself up. All right. Going to move some of our props away here, off to the side. Grab one of our bolsters. You're welcome to sit up on a bolster as well for this, but we're going to come into dragonfly. So our feet are nice and wide, and we have this bolster here that we can rest our head on. Your hands can come down at your sides or in front of you. You don't have to use the bolster. Do what feels right for you. We are looking for hamstring and inner thigh stretch here. You might even feel this pulling even further down into the calf and leg. Sometimes tailbone and low back gets a bit of pull as well. Returning awareness to your breathing here. As we fold forward, we might feel the breath more in the back or side body. Noticing if the mind's wandering and choosing to come back to either a sensation in the body or to the breath itself. take a few more breaths here. Coming out early if you ever need to. Less is more often with these stretches. And then when you're ready, your hands can come to the bolster, slowly start to help yourself back upright. If you're not already sitting up on a bolster, I invite you to do so. We're gonna be coming into shoelace, which is a little bit of a deeper yin stretch. And if it's feeling like too much, you can also just choose to do a half butterfly or running deer. Your right leg is going to be in this half butterfly, but your foot's going to slide a little more over towards the left. For example, if my butterfly is here, this foot's going to slide in a little more towards my left side so that my knee is more towards midline. You could stay here because for some that's enough stretch, and you could lean forward into that hip on the right side getting stretch. The other option is the left leg can then cross over or near the right knee. And then you get to choose where you want to stretch this. You can kind of turn away from it. You can lean into it. For some, it's just too intense on the hips. Maybe they're leaning back and still getting a decent stretch. So choose your own adventure. You just want to tend to your knees here because it does somewhat twist the knees, and that can be a little tender. We're looking for a pull through the hip, potentially low back and pelvis. So as long as you're feeling something in that area, to some extent, just making sure it's not pain. It's not any typical pain that you usually get going up. Okay, so breathing into that hold. We won't hold this as long. Shoelace kind of combines pigeon kind of stretch with a little bit of butterfly, with a little bit of even a spinal twist if you're choosing to turn. So it stretches a bit differently than all those other stretches combined. Nice and slow, we're gonna come out of that. And you can be a little tender coming out of this one, so just take your time. Do something to show your body that it's okay. Hopefully it is okay. And just kind of resetting the hips here, because those are some deep stretches. Okay, so next, your left knee is kind of going into that butterfly, but if you want, you can slide it over a little bit more. Very common to have difference from left to right. Then the right foot is going to come towards left knee or beyond. And then this is where we lean forward, off to the side. We all have variations in our body anatomically down to the bone structures. Everyone has a different even depth or shape of their ball and socket joints. We all have different habitual patterns, so that's why these shapes are more what they feel like, not what they look like. As long as you're feeling a little bit of compression, a bit of pulling, no increase in your typical pain, and then coming back to the breath. Knowing you can come out of this shape anytime. when you're ready, nice and slow. Releasing that stretch. You can take the legs long and take a few wiggles through the feet. And we're going to come into a spinal twist. So draw the right knee in, give it a little hug, placing the foot on the inside or outside of the left knee. We'll inhale our arms up. So find those sit bones, make sure you're grounded through them. Exhale, we twist to the right. If you have a block handy you want to use behind you, you're welcome to. Left hand can come to right knee as a little assist. And your neck rotation's up to you. You can choose to look over your shoulder or simply down at your side. Notice what it feels like to breathe while you're twisted. Slowly come back to center. The right ankle, optional to go over left knee and do a little bit of rock the baby. Just releasing through the back of that right hip. And if there's a spot that feels tight you want to hold into the stretch, you're welcome to. And then you're going to release the right leg and just notice, just like earlier when we did knees to chest laying on our back, does it feel different, longer, looser? And then we switch sides. Left knee comes to chest, give it a hug. And that foot can stay on the inside or outside of the right knee. Find your sit bones. We inhale, arms to reach up. Exhale to the left side, using a prop behind you if you need to. And notice your rotation on this side as you breathe into the space and opening you've created. Choosing to look over the left shoulder or down at your side. And the practice is to stay inward, noticing if the mind's getting pulled outwardly, whether it be to a sound or even getting pulled into the mind with a thought, a memory, a judgment. And we come back to the body, the breath. With curiosity. Noticing and becoming aware of how your body is showing up. Slowly come back to center. The left ankle is going to come over the right knee with the option to do a little bit of rocking back and forth here. Noticing what this hip feels like. Very common to have one hip a little tighter or a lot tighter. Let's work with what you have. Good job. Release the left leg. Once again, noticing that residual sensation. And we're going to come down into a supported Sphinx pose. So it's kind of like a supported cobra. But if you would prefer, you can just use your arms to support yourself, or you could even just lay flat with your head on your hands. That will even invite a little extension in the spine. So you're going to come down on your front body. Whether you use a bolster or your arms, up to you. We're inviting extension into the low back. And for some, staying upright with the gaze will be most comfortable. Others might want to rest their head on a block or their hands or stacked fists. And sometimes the bolster is too much extension for the spine, in which case, as I mentioned, you can just come down onto your arms or rest head on to hands instead of using bolster. We won't be here as long, but do invite some breaths more into the back body. And every time you exhale, see if you can soften a little bit through any spaces that may still be holding tension. If your low back's a little tender here, you could have your feet a little wider apart. Sometimes that relaxes the back muscles a little more. If your head's resting on a block, you're welcome to take a little bit of rotation left and right to massage out the forehead. Take a couple more breaths here. Notice how your body may feel different than when we first entered into this shape. Using the strength of your arms, we're going to slide that bolster out of the way, coming flat onto our stomachs. Rest your cheek or forehead on your hands, bend your knees 90 degrees, and do a little bit of rocking left and right, massaging your thigh bones. And quadricep muscle. Although we're extending the spine as our main target with Cobra or supported Sphinx, we also gave the hip flexors a little stretch too. So here we are going down further into the quadricep, massaging out that big, powerful muscle that works so hard for us. Come back to center. We're going to do a half butterfly here. You can extend your left arm long to rest your head on and draw your right knee up. So option to stay here. If cat reaching its tail is in your practice, you're welcome to bend your left knee and reach for your right foot. Take a few more breaths here. you're in cat reaching its tail, you can release that left foot downward. And then you're slowly going to roll out, so straightening the right leg. You can pause in between, prop your toes up, and just let your heels drop back and forth. It's like another version of a long-legged windshield wiper. Feel that oscillation up into the hip, pelvis, but still feeling a massage in the thigh muscles. And then we're gonna switch sides. I'm gonna just switch the head here so that I can still make sure everyone's doing okay. So this time our left knee is going to draw up as our right arm extends, resting our head. And the option is to bend the right knee and reach with our left hand this time. Go easy on yourself. If you are feeling more increase in pain, discomfort, or that it's hard to breathe, then you want to take an easier version. Checking in with your breath. Just a few more breaths here, coming out of the shape early if you need to. If you're in cat chasing its tail, release the right foot. And then very slowly straightening the left leg, coming back to center. Start to press yourself up. And we're gonna come on to hands and knees. So if you have any tenderness with your knees, go ahead and take a double mat or grab a blanket. Hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. We'll do some side bends, so hips go left, gaze goes right. And vice versa. We'll come back to center, exhale around the spine. Inhale, arch for cat-cow. Come back to neutral. If it's comfortable, you're going to take your right leg, extend it long, and then cross it over beyond the left foot. And then from here, we're going to rock forward and back. And what you can do is let the top of your foot be down and slide with it as you're rocking. So your toes on the right are pointed. Just another way to stretch and mobilize both sides of the hips and pelvis. And then we switch sides. So right knee plants, left leg goes long, step it over beyond the right foot, top of the foot lands, and slide. If you have a sock on, it is easier. Depending on what surface you're working with here.
Skin abrasion. Too aggressive.
Yeah. Should have gave everyone some Swiffers to mop my floors here. All right, and then we're gonna switch it over back to center and drop into child's pose. If your knees are tender today, you can do cross between child's pose and down dog, which is a puppy dog, having your hands further out and not dropping into as much knee flexion. Some yin teachers will call this the puppy dog heart melting pose, just a little more of a heart opener than child's pose where you're closing off. No matter what shape you're taking, you want to come back to your breathing. Allow yourself to settle in here. Yin shapes are more passive by nature, so you're trying to let go of a little bit of effort that you might still be holding on to. If your knees are tender, you can also do knees to chest on your back. Taking a couple more breaths here. When you're ready, slowly starting to rise up. And we're going to make our way onto our backs now. Having your blocks handy, we're going to do our bridging with our feet up on the blocks. You can put your blocks together here, kind of with the third bottom part of your mat. Adjust as needed. You want your foot to be planted on the blocks. If you need to flip the blocks around to have more of your foot on the block, that's optional. Just take a moment with your feet on the blocks just to notice how you're feeling so far. If you need to take any reset, you could do a little bit of rocking through the knees or tucking the shoulders back, rocking the neck and head, just kind of reset that tone before we lift up. So we're doing this elevated bridge, so our feet are up by 3 to 4 inches, meaning perhaps we lift a little bit higher. You don't have to. Your arms are going to help. So your arms are at your side, palms are down. Really press through the arms a little bit to start activating those muscles. And you could just practice lifting an inch or two, or you can go further. Your choice. As you inhale, start to lift pelvis up. And as you exhale, start to lower. If you have been told that you hold a lot of tension to your pelvic floor, you might exhale when you lift up. So exhale with effort, and that just keeps things a little more relaxed. Just flowing in and out of this in a way that feels right for you. For some, just lifting an inch or two is just going to be enough. Just another way to stretch out the front of the hips, strengthen through the back. Complete opposite of what sitting does to our body. Once you relax yourself back down again, you can push the blocks off to the side. And we're gonna come into a figure 4 spinal twist. So see how this lands for you in your body. And if you want to bolster or block nearby to help support your twist, you're welcome to. Your right ankle is gonna come over your left knee, and you're gonna let your legs drop over to the left. So your right foot is gonna land on either a bolster, block, or floor, just so that you're not just hanging out in space. You have some support. And this will create a spinal twist. So your arms can be at a T formation, overhead. With the figure 4 twist, it does create a little bit of rotation in the knee, so adjust as needed. You don't have to stay in the figure 4 shape. If you prefer a traditional twist, you could just stack your knees bent on top of each other. The figure 4 does invite a little more length through the outside of the thigh and glute area. And so you're just going to breathe into that pulling sensation, relaxing through the upper body as it's not really a part of a focused area. And your gaze can either be over your right shoulder or just relaxed in neutral. When you're ready, nice and slow, you're going to come out of that twist. Set the right foot down,